Have you ever wondered what actually makes someone who walked away from you suddenly regret it and start missing you like crazy? Most people get this completely wrong. They think it's about chasing, sending long emotional messages, posting sad quotes, or trying to make the other person jealous. But none of those things work the way you think they do. In fact, they often push people even further away. The truth is much simpler, and at the same time, much more powerful. It all comes down to one single action you take after they leave. Not something dramatic, not something loud, something quiet, but incredibly effective. And when you do it, something shifts. They start thinking about you again. They notice your absence. They begin to wonder what happened. Some even come back, reaching out, asking to talk. But here's the real twisty. The time they finally realize what they lost, you're no longer the same person. You're no longer waiting. You're no longer hoping. You've already moved forward, and that's exactly what changes everything. The first and most powerful move is to disappear, and that does not mean playing childish games or vanishing just to get attention. It means truly removing yourself from their world so they can fully feel your absence. No texting them late at night, no checking their stories, no liking their posts, no asking mutual friends how they are doing, and no finding excuses to stay connected. You stop being available in every small way. This is hard, because when someone leaves, your instinct is usually to hold on tighter. You want to remind them that you are still there. You want to stay visible in case they change their mind. But that is exactly why so many people get ignored. When you are always there, always reachable, always reacting, your presence becomes ordinary. You become like air. Air is essential, but no one notices it because it is always around. The moment it is gone, everyone pays attention. The same thing happens with people. Constant presence often gets taken for granted, but real absence creates emotional weight. Think of it like a toy a child plays with every day. When it is always available, it fades into the background, but once it is taken away, suddenly it becomes the only thing they can think about. Human psychology works in a similar way. People often do not fully recognize value while it is constantly in front of them. They recognize it when it is no longer easy to access. That is why your silence can become louder than all your previous effort. Your disappearance forces them to notice the empty space you used to fill. More importantly, though, disappearing is not only about making them feel your loss. It is about protecting your own peace, breaking unhealthy attachment, and creating the space you need to heal and rebuild. This is where many people make a critical mistake. They manage to disappear physically, but mentally and emotionally, they are still completely attached. They keep talking about that person to friends, replaying every detail, posting vague emotional messages online, or sharing subtle hints about how hurt they feel. It may seem harmless, even natural, but it quietly keeps you stuck. Every time you bring them up, you give them space in your mind, and more importantly, you give them power over your emotional state. And in many cases, that information finds its way back to them through mutual connections. When they hear that you are still talking about them, still affected, still processing the breakup over and over again, they don't feel regret. Instead, they feel secure. They think you are still available, still emotionally attached, still within reach whenever they want. That completely removes any sense of loss on their side. The right approach is much simpler, but far more effective. When someone asks about the situation, you keep it short and calm. You say something like, "I'm focusing on other things right now," and you leave it there. No long explanations, no emotional storytelling, no need to prove anything. If the topic comes up again, you gently shift the conversation elsewhere. This is not about suppressing your feelings, but about choosing not to give them unnecessary attention. When you stop talking about them entirely, something changes. You reclaim your focus, your energy, and your control. And from the outside, it sends a powerful message. You are no longer defined by what happened, and you are already moving forward. Now, this is where everything starts to transform in a powerful way. While you are no longer talking to them and no longer talking about them, you begin focusing on the one thing that truly matters you. Instead of sitting in the past, you start investing in your present and your future. You go to the gym, not just to change how you look, but to rebuild discipline and strength. You start learning new skills, exploring interests you once ignored, and challenging yourself in ways that push you forward. You spend more time with people who genuinely appreciate you, people who bring positive energy instead of draining it. Slowly, your life begins to feel different. But the real shift is not just external, it is internal. Your confidence starts to grow. You carry yourself differently. You speak with more certainty. You smile more naturally, not because you are pretending to be okay, but because you actually are. Your energy changes, and people can feel it. You are no longer chasing validation. You are creating your own sense of worth. And that kind of transformation is impossible to ignore. Others begin to notice first. Friends might comment on how much you have changed, how you seem happier, stronger, more focused. Opportunities may start to appear because you are showing up differently in the world, and eventually, whether directly or indirectly, the person who left you notices too. Maybe they see a photo of you looking confident and alive. Maybe they hear from someone that you are doing well. Or maybe they run into you and are surprised by the version of you standing in front of them. And that is when something hits them. They expected you to stay the same. They expected you to be stuck, to be waiting, to be affected by their absence. But instead, they see someone who is growing, someone who is thriving, someone who looks even better without them. That realization creates a powerful contrast between what they thought would happen and what actually did. And in that moment, a new thought begins to form in their mind. One they cannot easily ignore. They start to feel that losing you might have been a mistake. At some point, after you have disappeared, stopped talking about them, and started building a better life, something interesting often happens. They reach out, but not in the way you might expect. It is rarely a deep apology or a clear attempt to fix things. Instead, it comes in small, subtle forms. A random, "Hey, how have you been?" text. A like on one of your old photos, a short comment, maybe even a late-night message saying they miss you. These are what we call breadcrumbs-tiny pieces of attention meant to test if you are still available. Breadcrumbs are not real effort. They are low-risk signals. The person is not committing to anything. They are simply checking if they still have access to you. And this is where most people lose all their progress. The moment they see that message, they get excited. Their emotions rush back. They respond quickly, enthusiastically, and suddenly they are available again. Just like that, all the mystery disappears, and all the value you rebuilt starts to drop. From the other person's perspective, it confirms something dangerous: they still have you whenever they want. The right response requires discipline. You have two strong options. The first is to not respond at all. Silence shows that small, effortless attempts are no longer enough to reach you. The second option, if you choose to reply, is to keep it short, calm, and emotionally neutral. Something like, "I'm good, thanks." No follow-up questions, no excitement, no reopening the conversation. You remain grounded, focused, and unaffected. Because the truth is simple: if they genuinely regret losing you, they will not send breadcrumbs. They will show real effort, clear intention, and honest communication. And until that happens, you do not settle for less. The final shift is not something you do on the outside, but how you live on the inside. You begin to move through life as if you have already won, not as if you are trying to win them back, not as if you are waiting for a message, and not as if you need to prove anything. You stop checking your phone for their name. You stop wondering what they are thinking. You stop measuring your value based on whether they come back or not. Instead, you choose yourself fully. You focus on your goals, your growth, your peace. You build a life that feels complete on its own, not one that depends on someone else returning. And this creates a quiet but powerful confidence. You are no longer desperate, no longer seeking validation, no longer trying to be chosen. You have already made that choice for yourself. When you live this way, people can feel it. There is a certain calmness, a certain energy that comes from someone who is not chasing anything. You are present, grounded, and genuinely okay with whatever happens next. And that is what makes the biggest difference. Because when someone sees that you are not waiting, not needing, and not attached in the same way anymore, it forces them to see you differently. You are no longer an option sitting in the background. You are someone who moved forward and built something real. And that, more than anything else, is what creates true respect and often deep regret. And here is the part no one expects. After all of this, after you disappear, grow, and truly move forward, they might come back, this time with more effort, more emotion, maybe even an apology. They might tell you they miss you, that they made a mistake, that they want another chance. And for a moment, this is everything you once wanted to hear. But something has changed. You have changed. While they were gone, you didn't just wait, you evolved. You built a life that no longer depends on them. you found peace without them. And now, standing in this new version of yourself, you realize something surprising. You don't feel the same anymore. The desire is gone, the attachment is gone, and that is the real victory. Not that they came back, but that you no longer need them to. In the end, you win either way. Whether they come back or not, you've already built a better life for yourself. So, start today, choose one step, commit to it, and become someone who no longer waits to be chosen.